And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at a new expansion for Terraforming Mars, Colonies. This is the 4th expansion. So let's recap real quickly. The first expansion added some new maps. Fine. Venus added another kind of goal to go for, made the game a little bit longer, added some more stuff, added a new resource, floaters. And then Prelude, which was the expansion 3, essentially adds a whole bunch of kind of ways to start the game. In fact, if you watch my review of Prelude, you'll know I'll never play without it again. It was an amazing expansion. Colonies adds colonies. All right, well, let's see what that does to the game. Here's what it does. At the beginning of the game, you are going to have a stack of colonies here, and you're going to have colonies that you're going to draw equal to the number of players plus 2, or plus 3 if you're playing with only 2 players. So I'm just going to show you a bunch of the colonies. Actually, I think I can show you all the colonies here if I zoom out a little bit. So there's going to be certain colonies that are in play. On each colony that's in play, you're going to put a white marker here on the second spot on each one like this. So here we got one on most of the colonies. Again, you won't have this many colonies in play. So on a player's turn now, they have 2 options that they can do. And so there's a board here, and on this board, each player is going to put a ship with their thing, and this is their trade fleets here. So you're going to have a trade fleet with one of your tokens in. That's going to be on this tile. There's actually a secondary small tile that tells you all the same information that's on here so that people on the other side of the table can read it. So you have 2 options. One is you can build a colony. It costs 17 to build a colony. And when you build a colony on any particular spot, you simply are going to put your token in the leftmost spot there. So I pay 17, I put my token there. You then get the reward of the spot. So this one here happens to be, it increases my plant production by 1. There can only be 1 colony per player per each of these colonies. There can only be 1 settlement here. So let's say blue, it would push up the white cube if blue wanted to go there. There can only be 3 total on each of them. Now at the end of every round, end of every generation, each white marker is going to move up 1 like this until it gets to the end, in which case it will just stay there. On a player's turn, they can, as one of their actions, they can build a colony on one of these, or they can trade. When you trade, you're going to pay 9 money, 3 energy, or 3 titanium. One of these 3 things, and you can send out your colony ship. When you send out a colony ship, you'll send it to a particular location. You will get the colony bonus. Here, the colony bonus is plants. The trade income is plants by whatever number it is here. So this would give me 6 plants. That's pretty cool. And then this gets reset all the way down to the first open space. Each colony there will get a bonus too. In this case, they will get plants. You can see here on IO that when you go there and trade, you'll get a whole pile of heat. You can get 13 heat if it goes up all the way, and each colony gets 2 heat. This one gets the different biology tokens, the different bacteria tokens. This gets the floater tokens that were introduced in Venus. Ceres here will give you steel. Callista gives you energy. Pluto, which is a planet, gives you more cards. Miranda gives you more animals. Triton gives you titanium. And Europa is going to let you put oceans on the board and will increase your production by whichever one of these it's on whenever you send that up. So your game is going to be radically different depending on which of these colonies are going to be out there. There are 4 new corporations that are available here. Arclight is one of my favorite corporations in the game, mostly because it just gives you points for animals. Every time you play a card with an animal or plant tag, you put an animal on this card. There's other ways to put animals on cards, and you get 1 for every 2 animals on the card. That's pretty cool. This one here gives you an extra colony tile, starts in play, and gives you extra money production for every different type of tag you have in play. That's okay. This one is actually a corporation I find okay because putting an extra colony in play is neat. It doesn't seem to necessarily benefit me per se. I don't know. It's okay. Poseidon starts you with a colony, and whenever someone places a colony, your production goes up by 1, so that's pretty neat. And then Stormcraft gives you a lot of money and lets you put floaters on cards and then use a floater as 2 heat. So, these are some new cards that are good additions to the game. So there's a lot of new cards in this game, so you won't necessarily see all the new cards, but there's a lot of cards that have floaters. Floaters is like microbes and animals. It's basically just a new type of resource that you'll be able to put out. Here you add 2 floaters to a Jovian card, but your TR goes up by 2 steps too. Here you're going to add 2 floaters to another card. You can spend 2 floaters from this card to increase your TR by 1 step. Here you just get your ME production 1 step for every 3 floaters you have. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with these. It's another resource. And they also give you more cards that have to do with microbes and animals. Martian Zoo is one of my favorites, just because you can put animals there and then get money for every animal you have on this card. So then there's also a lot of ordinary cards of just various things. Conscription lets you play your next card for -16, but you lose a point. Here your plant production go up by 2 or 5 regular production. A lot more cards with production, and this is nice because, I'm always happy to have new cards. This is a cool one. It's worth 4 victory points, and your titanium production goes up by 3. Oh, that's a great card, but it's really, really expensive. Okay, so those are the regular cards. We also have a lot of cards that have to do with colonies. And so this is always going to happen in, this sort of thing. So you're not going to be able to play with these unless you use this set. Put out a colony. Whenever you trade, you pay 1 less resource. So instead of paying 3 titanium, I can play just 2. There's a card here that requires a colony. Here you get to put out a colony and an ocean tile. Here titanium goes up by 1 and place a colony. Here my plant production goes up by 1 for each colony I have. Here my money production goes up by 1 for each colony that's in play, period. Here you can only have 1 colony, but this gives you another one. So there's a lot that lets you put out colonies. Decrease your production 2 steps to put out a colony. Here when you trade, you can increase the track by 1 before you trade. Here's another one where you can pay 1 less resource. Place a colony where you already have a colony. That lets you break that rule. Increase 1 colony track up 1, make another one go down. Here's some floaters on colonies. Here you get an extra trade fleet, so you can send out 2 trade fleets per turn. Here you get an ME for each city tile in play and 1 ME for each colony in play. And this one is neat. It's 0, but it gives you all your colony bonuses. So there's a lot of cards that have to do with colonies, which you don't need these cards for colonies to work, so they will show up throughout the game, regardless of, even if you're mixing them with all the other cards. These tiles are nice. There's, some information on the tile that talks about, this is a Jupiter moon and a colony bonus, but they're very easy to figure out what they do. Almost all of them are the same. They're just going to give you a bunch of 1 resource and a colony bonus, and then they increase production or give you a bunch of tags. I especially like the fact that several of these do the microbes and animals. That's a nice thing. They also look kind of cool on the table. So these are nice tiles, and there's this big tile here. The trade fleets are, well, okay. They look like 3D printed pieces, honestly, and they look like arrows, not ships. But hey, you put your cube in, whatever. They're functional, they work. I just think they could look a lot better. The rest of the cards is the same, as all other cards. There's a little tiny triangle here, so you know which ones come in this set. And they're about the same as the rest of the cards, a mix of artwork and all sorts of things. You already probably have determined your opinion on the artwork in this game. But for the most part, good quality components, although have fun trying to fit it all in the main box. Okay, so far I have liked every expansion for Terraforming Mars. I do find as time goes by whether I use them or not. I don't always use the original maps. I don't always use Venus. I always use Prelude. Will I always use Terraforming Mars colonies? And the answer is, if you've played Terraforming Mars before, then yes, I will always play with it. If you haven't played it before, then this is probably a little much to add to you at the beginning of the game. But it just gives more actions. I really like it. You can concentrate on colonies. You can get colonies on those places, really get some bonuses. Other people are going to be tempted to send up their trade ships to get those trade bonuses. I mean, when there's 7 plants sitting there, and you can trade in 3 energy for that, that's kind of hard to give that up. And so someone will do that, and boom, there's another plant for me. And I also really like the fact that colonies are there for the microbes and the animals and floaters. That's neat because it kind of makes those resources more. So you can mix this in. I would recommend playing this for the first time without Venus, but you can mix it in because the floaters are going to be in there and help kind of flesh that out. There's a lot of cards involved. I don't think this adds to the timing of the game, maybe 10 minutes or so. And there's a little bit of extra fiddliness as you move those white cubes every turn. But other than that, this is a solid one. Again, I like things that give me more options. I also like to see getting a whole pile of stuff. I put that colony out there, and every time someone goes there, I get something. That's good. That's just something that makes me happy because that means I'm going to constantly get a small income. And if I have all the colonies out there, that's great. And there's also a little bit of a kind of push your luck, like, wow, that colony's getting bigger and bigger. Am I going to take it? Well, I want to let it get a little bit bigger before I take it, but then you take it, which makes it go back down to the beginning again. And that's kind of interesting. There's some back and forth in that regard, but it's mostly just more stuff that's plentiful. When it comes to games, I like games that give me lots of stuff, and then I get to decide how to use that stuff to my best success. Well, this one gives more stuff, and more stuff in Terraforming Mars makes me happy. The theme also, with having the different moons of Jupiter and seeing Pluto show up in the game, I mean, we're getting a whole solar system in here at some point. We're going to have to change the name to Terraforming the Solar System soon. But it just works overall. Like I said, it's my second favorite expansion of the group, and I will play with it as long as you know how to play the game. Boom, let's play with colonies because it's that good. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.